this is funny because this is not, even though this is pro wrestling, which is like staged, this is a real beef between two people that really didn't like each other. And these guys started off as friends. Like when they were doing this thing in wrestling, when Hulk Hogan started, he was the big mega star. He took wrestling from the low back alleys to the main stage where it's on popular television with cartoons and everything else. Hogan did that. He transcended the sport. The character of Hulk Hogan.
You know what I'm saying, Mean Gene. The prayers, the training, the vitamins.
So that's what he preached every day. He ripped his shirt off and he was Hulk Hogan. He won the match every way. He jacks up off adrenaline, does that leg drop, and the match was over. After WrestleMania 3, he became the biggest thing on the planet, beating Andre the Giant. But there was somebody who was challenging him as the most popular wrestler in the WWE. After the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat match took place, they were the most talked about event of WrestleMania 3 was Randy the Macho Man Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat got his revenge in WrestleMania when George the Animal Steel showed up, but a star was born. And everybody loved Macho Man Randy Savage. He was it. Now, behind the closed doors, what you don't see is all of the extra things that was happening once the lights and cameras died down. Macho Man and Elizabeth were really dating. It wasn't just for act. They brought her in and brought her into the act with Macho Man, and he's very protective. He's very secretive. He don't like a lot of people around him. He's paranoid. A lot of people think it was too many blows upside the head that turned him into a paranoid maniac. But he would basically treat her like a property and like keep her fortress and everything. And his paranoia was actually written into most of the scripts that, he agreed to do, if it's best for the event to make it look real, like letting Jake the Snake actually bite him. That was written in there. But what people didn't know is that Macho Man really had a temperature like 100-something degrees because of that snake bite. But all while they were there and they were friends with Hogan, Hulk Hogan, they decided, look, we got to ride this Macho Man thing, and Hogan's dying right now. Like, he's dying out. He's not as popular as he used to be. Hogan needs a break. And we're going to give it to him. We're going to have a new champion, and we're going to set up a tournament to see who's going to be the champion. They knew right away Macho Madness ruled over the entire sport, and it was spreading like fire. They wanted to jump in on it right away, and they made Macho Man the heavyweight champion of the WWE, and he won the tournament, and that became the biggest event ever. And everyone thought Hogan would win the tournament. Once he got eliminated, it was like, wow, we're going to have a new champion. Somebody's going to be the new heavyweight champion of the WWE. So it became a major staple in the whole relationship with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, who had built up a relationship at this point of being friends and having his wife meet with, Randy was like, okay, I'm going to let you guys in a little bit, and trusting. And more, they were corrupting Miss Elizabeth, how she shouldn't be staying in the house all by herself. And, she needs to have a life too when Randy's on the road and he's traveling and she's not there anymore. So they led to a lot of them having arguments. And Randy Savage was not happy about the roles with having Elizabeth in the way. So they said, well, you guys were spotted a lot, like being friends. So we're going to try this friendship thing and make you guys like a team. And now that Randy's the heavyweight champion, he's gonna be the good guy, and you guys are gonna be the mega powers. And once that was taken off, you know, Randy Macho Man Savage didn't like Elizabeth's involvement with Hogan in the script. But in real life, he started to say when he's gone, he gives her money to just function in the house while he's gone. Like, order the pizza, his house is gated, nobody's coming in the house, I don't care who it is, you know, and they'll have parties at the Hogans, and this is why he didn't want it, because Hogan and them was swingers, you know, they went out and did their thing, so they were looking for new people to come in.
Randy, my brother, we're having something at the house, you know, Liz and I, so bring them on over. The kids and everything else they all want to meet you.
So, you know, Elizabeth be all like, it's all up to Randy, and then they ask Randy,
No! I said no! I'm gonna go on the road, yeah, and I don't want nobody in this house. I mean it. I don't want you going over to Hogan's. I want you to stay behind those bars, dig it?
So after that, you know, she'd be like, well, I can't go. So one time she snuck out and went over there and partied with the Hogans and had a blast. Randy didn't find out about it until like later. And he refused to work with Hulk Hogan. They didn't even speak. And they had to have a meeting. They said, okay, look, we're going to have this thing blow up. And the mega powers and all that, we're going to have a big blow up. And then this thing is over. And Hogan's like, I don't know what he's freaking out about. Like, nothing happened at the party. Like, she came out, she had a good time. It was sandwiches, you know, and the kids were there, you know. It wasn't like a wild, crazy party. And she went home. He's like, what is he upset about? He's upset because she went out. And Macho Man wanted to really have a fist fight with Brian Sags and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. It was like, are you kidding me? Over this? So Randy started talking to the only other friend he had in there, which was the Ultimate Warrior. You know, he talked to him a lot, and he spoke to him about it, and the Ultimate Warrior was basically telling him, like, look, that's Hogan. That ego and everything about him, and, you know, all of his stuff that he does, you know, that's Hogan. 100%. So don't look no further but to blame him for the entire everything that's going on. So Liz is starting to feel that itch to go out because she has such a great time. So her and Randy are arguing and fighting and all of this stuff going on behind the scenes. So they're getting ready to split up. You know, and the living arrangement wasn't right. So Randy, you know, they had a talk, they worked things out, and they got back together. Now at this time, she's managing Hogan. And they wrote that in the script. She's got to manage Hulk Hogan, and they're going to do this match. So Randy came and, like, told Hogan, look, I overreacted. Let's try to get this going. You know, let's finish it. You know, so they do the match, and everything went to perfection. Hogan won. He got the belt back. And they told Randy they were going to find another title or something for him. He was a great champion and this and that, and he might be champion again, you know, down the road. They just wanted to pass the torch back to Hogan so that Hogan could get back, and that's why they put him with Macho Man so he could, you know, revamp Hulkamania. And now Hulkamania is back rolling. Let's get Hogan back in there, and let's roll with that. Then when he fades out, we know we can give the belt back to Randy. Now, here's the issue. Macho Man and Elizabeth's fighting is getting worse and worse. So they're writing scripts where Hulk Hogan and Macho Man are not combative anymore. They're trying to write that off, and they got Jake the Snake Roberts and with Macho Man. And they're starting that feud. And then during that time is when a lot of turmoil behind the scenes with Elizabeth, after they had just patched things up, she's becoming more rebellious. She's fighting back on a lot of the issues that she didn't used to fight back on. And he still blames Hogan for this. So even though, Hogan declares they're going to sit down, they're going to talk things out, and things are going to work out, and they're brothers, and they try to apologize to him because she kept going out, hanging out at the Hogans. And going to a party, and, Randy's losing it. And he don't want to hit her, He never put his hands on her, but, he's a threatening person, just like he does in the wrestling ring. It was just like that at home. He was, that voice isn't fake. That's Randy Savage's voice.
You gonna listen to me? You're gonna obey me. If you're gonna disobey me, there's no need for this to even go any further. Yeah. I'm out. Gonna have a beer, and when I come back, you better be in this house. Yeah.
So after that, she's like, well, forget your threats, I'm gone. So she's out hanging out with Hogan them. Then Hogan tells Vince Tunney and all the rest of them, and Vince McMahon and all them,
look, I think Randy's losing it, brother. I mean, I tried to reach the guy, but something's not. All the screws are and the wiring is all off, So, I think something's a little off with Randy. And, big problems ensue because the Junkyard Dog, he felt Hulk Hogan was the reason he had to leave the WWE. Because the Junkyard Dog wanted to get paid, and Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan didn't want to give up a spot. And he was like, Junkyard Dog wanted a shot on the big stage against Hulk Hogan for the title. And they basically told the Junkyard Dog that he's expendable. And the Macho Man didn't like that, the way they handled the JYD. So he never really was okay with that. Because he is like, people love the Junkyard Dog. Why would you do that to Junkyard Dog? And this guy's been with you for so long, and he made the circuit popular. Got the people in there, and you never really had anybody from color that really transcended over since Coco Beware. He just came out of nowhere. But before Coco Beware, there was the JYD juking, the Junkyard Dog. And when Junkyard Dog was like, I'm going over to WWE, I mean, the WCW, everybody was blown away. Like, the Junkyard Dog is leaving the WWF? Like, this is the big stage. This is the big show. And he performed well. But there was different things happening. And when they had the fact where they actually got married, Macho Man proposed to Elizabeth because she was going to leave him. And he did that in an effort to save the marriage. Now, he had Sensational Sherry managing him at the time, so that was Jake's girl at the time. They were like best friends and dating. So Jake the Snake and Macho Man, they all going through this whole thing. And Sherry, who was the women's champion, her and the Fabulous Moolah were the best female wrestlers at that time. Wendy Richter, she was just like an aerobics instructor that they tried to make the female Hulk Hogan. But all of this, they constructed some of the greatest matches within the rivalry of those two because they understood wrestling. But the thing is Hogan was the enemy. Hogan was the bad guy. Hogan was like, when it comes to wrestling, Hulk Hogan is like a F or a D minus. He never really did too many moves in the ring. It was a slam, a clothesline, a big foot, and a leg drop. That's about all the moves Hulk Hogan is going to do in a ring. These guys had energy. They were high flying, doing all these things, and putting themselves at risk for the entertainment value. What comes along with that is the price of pain. Macho Man was injured really bad. He had injured his knee, tore it up. So he was basically being an announcer while the matches were going on. Hogan was switching over to Hollywood. He was in semi-retirement. They had him come back, fight Yokozuna and all that stuff, but
In the meanwhile, him and Liz end up divorcing. She had got hooked into the party life, got hooked on drugs, and once they split for good. Like, she just left, and Macho Man was like, I can't even keep her no more. You know, and he blamed Hogan for ruining that marriage because he was going back, getting her, she going over to Hogan's, meeting with everybody else, and then she ended up with Lex Luger when they went to WCW. And when he went to WCW, those same people there, like Luger and all those guys who came over from WWF, he was cool with Hogan and everything else. When he went to WCW, you know, he hooked up with Liz. You know, Liz thought he was cute and talked to him every now and then, and she was more rebellion and wanted to go back to the party life. She was enjoying it. She was a very fragile, emotional woman who was very, you know, easy to be controlled because of Randy and his paranoia, so that when she had her first chance of freedom and she got addicted to it, it was the parties at Hogan's all over again. Let's go. So now she's with Luger, and he's, you know, a drug head just like she is, and they're partying up a storm, and next thing you know, she overdoses and dies. And Macho Man loses it because even though they divorced, that was his wife, and he blames Hogan for her whole demise and lead down this road that led to her death. So he put out a song against Hulk Hogan, and nobody even knew this was like real. Like, everybody think it's a joke when Macho Man's rapping.
Hulk Hogan, I'm gonna kick your ass.
I mean, it's funny because it's Randy Macho Man Savage, but he was mad. For real, he wanted to fight Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan's like, I'm not fighting Randy. You know, Macho Man is out of his mind, you know. So as big as Hogan was over Randy Savage, I mean, Macho Man, when they used to go to Venice Beach and work out with those guys, Randy would be up there trying to do as much weight and can lift about as much as Hulk Hogan. Randy did not want to feel second to anybody.
Yo, like he, ooh yeah, see these guns here? These ain't chopped liver, yeah.
So, when all of the smoke cleared and everything was over, you know, Randy ended up passing away. He had a heart attack driving the car. And that was unfortunate that he ended up passing away. But him and Hogan claims that they met and patched everything up. It was just a sad ending to a story where he actually remarried, was happy, you know, but things were never the same between Hulk Hogan and Macho Man after that. They never patched things up. Because Elizabeth was like his first love that he really cared about, like, that he shared all his secrets with. This was his main girl, and you come in there and destroy his life. Randy holds a grudge like nobody's business. And that was basically it, man. You know, so that was how the beef went down with Hogan and Macho Man. It's your boy Carcino. I'm out, and for those who's young enough don't understand what we're talking about, sorry. What else could I say but sorry?